Your journey can only begin when the self-doubts stop. The first step is harnessing your bravery within. Believing in you is your host, John Williams. Hello and good day to you all. My name is Sean, and I'd like to thank you for tuning into another episode of Bravery Within. I wanted to take just a couple minutes here to say thank you so very much for joining into my podcast. I'm getting an amazing response already, more than I ever thought that I'd ever get. It's so nice to hear that everybody out there is starting to listen to it. I'm even starting to get some suggestions, starting to get some tips on what other people are doing, which is absolutely phenomenal. I'm just waiting for people to start posting on the Facebook page to say, how far they come, where they're hoping to go to, all those other things there. But it's nice there because I've already gotten a couple recommendations on different foods that other folks are using and eating and stuff, and other things that they're drinking. And I think it's awesome. So that way, not only can I work it in for your guys' weight loss journey, but I can also do the same thing for my journey, because with us all working together, we're bound to get through this a little bit easier. There's other things that people are doing out there that I never would have thought of, which is phenomenal. So I'll try to share all those little tips that I get to make things easier for you. So no matter what platform you're listening to on and stuff there, if you're listening on YouTube or Spotify or Apple or Pandora or whatever it is, if you would be so kind to take a minute and just either like or comment or subscribe or whatever the technical term is. I'm not exactly all that great with this stuff, but if you would just do that, what that does is, my understanding is, it moves me up in the algorithms and it helps folks find this podcast a little bit easier. And my only goal with the podcast, to be honest, is just to help everybody out as much as I can, to let you know that, hey, you're not alone out there. We're all struggling to go through this. Weight loss is a very, very tough monster to take on. I struggle with it every day myself. And as I've said many times before, I'm not anybody that's got a piece of paper on the wall saying I'm smart and I've been through schooling and everything. This is just all flying by the seat of my pants trying to learn this, and it's working for me. Do I do everything right or healthy? Probably not. But the weight's coming off and I'm still functioning. I'm still working 40 hours a week, living paycheck to paycheck. So I must be doing something right, because everybody's enjoying listening to my stories, which I can't thank you enough. It means the world that you're clicking me and listening to my story for the next 45, 50 minutes. It's awesome. Thank you so very much. And I'm glad you take the time to listen in. So with all of that being said, today's going to be a little bit harder one to get through, and I'm going to apologize right up front to the ladies and stuff there. There's going to be a couple parts through this podcast and stuff there are going to be a little bit more geared towards men, so please, hope I don't bother anybody, but when you live in the area like I do, and I've discussed it before, we're not allowed to talk about our feelings. We're not allowed to talk about what bothers us and stuff there. We have to keep everything locked up. So episode 7 is called Past Traumas. I've actually had a debate with my son a couple times over this episode. I was worried about bringing it up so soon because I try to keep everything very light, very, very positive. And I will do my very best to keep this as light and positive as I can. But the thing that both him and I do agree on is this is the mental aspect of losing weight is probably the toughest, and addressing this stuff I think is going to do nothing but help you along the way. Now, granted, I'm not saying that my pain is any better than anybody else's. It's not. It's just the pain that I've experienced, and you've experienced pain, you've experienced loss. All of that stuff goes towards, if it was anything like me, that's why I gained 300 pounds more than what I needed. It's because I ate my feelings. I just never really processed the grief. I never really handled the depression. Every time it bothered me, then I would just dig into the chips or the cookies or the brownies or anything like that there to try to just ignore it, because I was raised, well, you don't talk about your feelings. You just compartmentalize it away and you keep right on it going. You do whatever it takes to provide for the family, and it doesn't matter basically the mental side of everything. And I've had to learn, and I am still learning. I'm not an expert in any way, shape, or form on this one here, but I am still learning how to process grief, how to process depression. So I thought, to try to help you a little bit on your weight loss journey, that we would talk about this a little bit. So I've dug in and done some research on this because it helped me, and there's a lot of people that for some reason they feel comfortable talking to me, and I love listening to them. So what I've done is I've done everything I can to try to arm myself with some information to try to help these folks out. And try to keep them going, because everybody's pain is huge. Everything that we're going through, everything we went through with COVID, now we're looking at a recession, and everything's getting so expensive and stuff out there that all of that plays a factor in trying to stay the course on your weight loss journey. It's a challenge every day for me to try to figure out to balance yin and yang, to try to, okay, well, everything's getting so expensive. How do I keep going? So some of the things that we're going to talk about today in this podcast and stuff is dealing with and processing your past pain and recognizing depression and the damage it can do to your weight loss journey. Okay, that's a mouthful. It's a lot, and there's going to be a lot behind this, but I just thought I'd let you know ahead of time. The second part is not compartmentalizing so much as a man. Like I said, ladies, I'm not trying to gear this towards men or anything there, but I have to take this from a man's point of view because I'm a man. You have your own pain and everything out there too. A lot of these things can help you out too. I just don't want you to be upset because I said it's compartmentalizing as a man. There, just please don't take it that way. It's just what I'm going to be talking about. And the last thing is seeking therapy. That's one thing that we're going to talk a little bit about. So I realize that none of these topics are fun to talk about, but after all said and done, and I've molded around and stuff when I was trying to figure out how to do this podcast and stuff, I realized that it's stuff that I have to still take care of. So if I can try to give you a little bit of an idea or a little bit of information that's going to help you through to stay the course of your weight loss journey, I think this has to be talked about. So I'm going to do my very best there to try to keep it light and upbeat, but this is just the dark side of humanity and stuff that we're dealing with. So it's going to be a little dark. I'm just giving you a heads up there and a little bit of warning. So here we go, and let's see what we can do here. But before I get started, I just want it made it very, very clear here that this is information only, and this is not medical advice. Remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not anything like that. There are people that have went through the courses, they went through college, they went through life. Those are the people you're going to want to talk to. I've met a lot of them. There's a lot of good people out there, and they truly want to help you. So don't be afraid of them. Go out and talk to them. And there's nothing wrong with talking to, a psychiatrist or anything like that there to try to help. These feelings that we have are huge. They're very powerful, but you need to still basically work through them to make sure that you don't mess up your weight loss journey. So seek out help if you need it. Just keep in mind, there's no shame in asking for help. There's times that we all need help. I can already hear my friends on the other side of the speaker there groaning and saying, yeah, okay, well, why don't you take your own advice? I'm not going to argue that point, but I was raised, like I said, where you just keep it all locked up. And I'm working on it. I'm not the best at it, but I am still working on it. So the first section that we're going to talk about today is dealing with and processing your past pain. We've all, depending on your age, some people have had more pain, some people have had more loss, have gone through more grief and stuff there in their lives than, somebody that's 50, close to my age, compared to somebody that's 20. They just haven't been down the road long enough yet there, but they have their own pain. They have their own headaches. They have their own depression that they went through. Nobody's pain is worse than another person's. My pain and grief and stuff there is no better than anybody else's out there. But there's so many different tools that you can utilize to try to help yourself get through it. And I'm afraid that if you don't process this stuff, it's going to derail your weight loss journey. And I have to be honest, before I got started and stuff there on my current weight loss journey, I tried several times. I've had friends that were supportive and everything else, but nothing like what this one here. And I had to step back. Like I said, I can't exercise. It hurts to exercise. And I know you're all thinking, whatever, you can do it. My joints are giving out. Sooner or later, I'm going to be in a wheelchair. It's just a matter of time because my back's breaking down, my joints are breaking down. So to preserve the time that I have that I can walk and work and everything else, I've made sure that I don't exercise to protect my legs, to protect my ankles, my knees, and everything there. So I had to figure out, okay, I can't approach this normally. What have I done wrong in the past that I need to address this time to make sure that my weight loss journey holds? So it took me a little bit, and I'm not going to lie, it took me a couple months to figure this one out here. I found out there that with all the pain and the hurt and the grief that I have went through and I had not processed, I had just locked it away. That's the way I was raised. Lock it away, don't deal with it, it'll go away. If you talk about it and acknowledge it, then it's just going to make things worse. Well, nothing can be further from the truth. We're very, very social creatures. So by basically talking to somebody about this, it has helped. I don't talk to many people. I'm not going to lie about that one there. I'm a very private person. So some of the things I'm going to talk about today and stuff, and I'm going to tell you about, there's people out there that have no idea about this with me. So I'm sharing a lot with my listeners out there. I just want you to know that basically I'm opening up like I've never opened up before. So this is something that I'm hoping maybe you will take to heart and do yourself. Just know that basically there are 7 stages of grief every person on earth goes through. And the 7 are, the first one's shock, the shock and awe of everything. The second one is denial, just thinking it's okay, this can't be true. Third is anger, just trying to process, figuring out what am I going through, what's the damage done. The fourth one is bargaining. Trying to say, okay, well, if I do this or this, will this happen again? Can I go back? The fifth one is the toughest one, where I've learned a lot of people get hung up on this one, and I understand why, because I'm not going to lie, I got hung up on there too. It's really, really hard to get past the 5th step, which is depression. Depression, man, that can grab you and just not let go. It feels like you're out at sea and you got the ebbs and tides that are trying to pull you back into the sea, and you're fighting with everything you have to try to get out of it, and it seems like you get nowhere. So that's where I got hung up for years, and I'm not going to lie. I was depressed for years. I'm starting to come out of it. I'm starting to learn how to process it and get out of it, but it is so very, very simple during loss and grief and everything else to get stuck in depression. The other ones you can blast through pretty fast there and stuff there, but depression will hang you up. The next step is, this is where you need to get to, but that a lot of people struggle to get to, is acceptance and hope. That's tough. I have to admit that that's probably where I am on some of my issues, is the acceptance part. It's like, okay, well, this has happened to me. Okay, what can I do to not let it happen to me again, to protect myself? One thing that you don't want to do, like I did, is I just shut down. I pushed everybody out of my life. I haven't gained any new friends. I don't talk to anybody. And then that's where, when I would really get down and stuff there, that's where the food came in, because I used food to comfort me, to, basically I ate my feelings. So acceptance of, there's things that happen to you that are beyond your control. That's just life, unfortunately. But how you process it and how you handle it is up to you. And sometimes it's a very slow process. There's things I'm still working on for acceptance. I've been working on for years. I'm not going to lie. It's really, really tough. One thing about a Taurus that you're going to learn about is we hold grudges. Oh man, do we hold grudges. I've got grudges that I'm still holding back from when I was 7. I don't even know why I'm holding on to the grudges. But I've learned that I've gotten rid of most of them. In fact, I don't really have many left. I got probably one, but I figured out that all this negative energy, all this bad will, it just basically is karma coming back to me and saying, hey, guess what, you were naughty, so I'm gonna level the playing field. So acceptance and hope, that's where I'd like to try to help a little bit, is give a little bit of hope, knowing it is going to get better. It does. Once you start working through it, it gets better. It gets easier. It's just a tough step. And the last step is processing the grief. That's where I'm at on quite a few things. And I have to admit, there's been a few things that I've actually done all 7 stages of grief. I've went through it all, and I have gotten to the processing grief. And once you start getting into the acceptance and hope and processing the grief, things get better. The sun looks a little bit brighter. The smells are a little bit better. You hear the birds chirping and stuff. I know it sounds really, really crazy, but it actually is true. I've learned the hard way. Like I said, I'm 48. I'm still struggling, trying to learn things, trying to go through all this. But I found that by dealing with this stuff, it's helping me. As crazy as it sounds, it helps me with my weight loss. I don't feel the need to run to the kitchen cupboard all the time now okay, well, I got a bunch of cookies in there. Well, guess what? I got a bunch of hurt on this side. So if you have the cookies and you have the hurt, if you have them together, that weighs each other out, right? Wrong. Doesn't work that way. But it took me years and years and years to figure that out, and many, many pant sizes and shirt sizes bigger to figure out, oh, guess what? This isn't working. So just know that it's tough. It's a lot to go through, but you can do it. Just taking the first step and acknowledging it is a huge step forward. I got to be honest. It really, really helped me. So I honestly believe that it can help you too. So one thing, once you get through all of that and you start processing, I've learned that I don't eat as much. I don't want all the bad stuff. I don't want all the, the high sugar, high fructose, all those things. I can actually have a banana and it doesn't bother me quite as bad, or I can have a grape or something like that there. It helps me just to make better decisions. Like I said, I have a lot of a lot of pain, a lot of stuff to process. But I'm getting a little bit better at it. Like I said, I'm not the best at it, but I'm working on it. My friends and family and stuff they've been so wonderful and standing behind me through all of this. They keep telling me that I need to talk a little bit more. I need to work through some stuff, and they're correct. As soon as they start telling me that, then I shut down. It's like a protection barrier. It's like, no, I'm not gonna do this. I can't do this right now. But there's been many times that I take drives up in the hills, and even though the trees don't talk back, or the birds don't talk back, or the deer don't talk back, it's still very therapeutic for me to work through things. I don't have anybody around, so I don't really have to worry about, showing emotion or anything there. That's my place I can hide, and I'm protected, and I can process things. There's many times that I'll sit up by a lake and I'll work on one of my books. I'll come up with ideas, or I'll just sit there and just watch the fish jump, and it allows my mind to wander and say, okay, how can I process this? How can I get through it? And little by little, it's not something that happens overnight by any way, shape, or form. The bad part of it is most of the traumas and the pain, they happen just instantly, but it takes years to process them and to work through them. So just know that, until you do that, you might lose or mess up your journey a little bit there, but please talk to somebody. Don't hold it all in. Don't be like me. I'm still working on, decompartmentalizing everything, but it's a long road. And I'm not sure I'll ever get to the end of it all with all the pain that I went through. But what I try to do is, through my podcast, I'm trying to put kind of like a human face to my podcast. I know you've probably been to my Facebook page and you see what I look like and stuff there, and see the weight that I've lost. But like some of the things that I have been through, I have a list. I sat down when I was drafting up my notes for this podcast, and I was thinking, okay, what have I gone through? And I had already gone through these before I even started my weight loss journey, because I wanted to know what I was up against. What am I keeping inside? What have I not worked with? Because I am dead set on getting the weight off and getting to the finish line so I can jump around and say, hey, I did it. I took 300 pounds off. I'm healthier. I didn't do it there to make anybody else happy. I didn't do it for any other reason but me, and to be around for my friends and family, to be there for my son. That's why I'm doing it. That's my motivation. Are there days that it's hard? Yes, I'm not going to lie. There's still days that I want to go into the kitchen and break into a whole box of cookies and just eat. But I'm doing better at that. But I get the feeling it's kind of like an alcoholic. I have a friend that's an alcoholic, and he told me that that's all you think about some days is, I just want that drink. I just need that drink. And food is the same way. Where he used alcohol to comfort I use food to comfort. And it's the same thing. It's always like, there's always like that voice in the back of your head that is saying, you need this, eat this, and it's like, good, if you could just shut that off, it would be so much easier. But I don't know how to. Maybe there's some smart person out there that's went to school and knows how to do it. Hey, I'm all for it. If you know, tell me. I would sure like to know how you can stop that. But I've been able to slow it down, not listen to the voices in my head, for lack of a better term, not listen to them quite as much. So I'm getting there. I'm a work in progress. I'm not going to lie. So hopefully some of the information that I have is going to be able to help you a little bit. But to give you an idea, and like I said at the beginning of the podcast, there's stuff about, me that my friends have no idea about. And what I'm about to share with all of you, most people don't know this about me. So what I'm trying to do is show you that I'm human. I've been down the line. I can walk the walk and talk the talk right along with you. That's all I'm not trying to say, okay, my pain is better than yours, my pain is more than yours. Nothing like that. What I'm trying to say is these are some of the reasons why I gained 300 plus pounds, because I didn't process things. I didn't talk to people. And at many, many, many times, I didn't feel that I had anybody to talk to. I'm not going to, going through high school was brutal for me. I had 2 friends in high school. That was it. I didn't talk to anybody. I wanted to be a teacher in the worst way. I wanted to be a counselor. I wanted to help people, help kids through some tough times and stuff they go through. But like an idiot, I dropped out of college and I just never got back to it. So in some respects, this is kind of my way of trying to help people. I just don't have the college degree hanging on the wall saying, hey, guess what? I took the college, the courses. I'm smart. I'm okay. But I have life experience. I have OJT, on the job training. I'd like to think that accounts for something, and it's up to you. You can take away the information that you want to, but all I'm going to try to do is, when I give you the list of things that I have went through in my lifetime, to try to put a little bit of a face on, hey, I'm human. This is why. These are reasons why they're excuses, but they're the reasons why I basically ended up 300 pounds overweight. So some of the things that I've went through, some of these you're probably going to believe, some you won't. But I just want you to know I would take my hand out, put it on a Bible, and I would swear to God, I have went through these things. So I just want you to know that what I'm about to tell you, with all the stuff that I'm going to tell you, is me. There's so many people that don't know this about me, and I'm opening myself up to the world to say, hey, this is what I've been through. Guess what? So and the first couple are really, really, probably the first 6 are probably the worst. So, but it's up to you whether you believe me or not, but this actually can happen. I've been sexually abused. Not going to lie, I have been. And probably the one that's probably more embarrassing is I've been raped. Yes, men can be raped. You can sit out there, you can shake your head, you can say whatever you want to say and disagree with me. Men can be raped. And it is now proven that they can be. And there's women, which I feel so horrible about, because they deserve representation. They deserve to have their attacker brought to justice. And I got a few other things, but that is not appropriate for this podcast. But there's not enough of them that step forward. There's not enough that are believe that they went through this. And they say it's a very, very low amount. I thought it was like 2% is all reports of, basically when that horrific attack happens. Even less men happen because our man pride kicks in and we're saying, well, it can't happen to us. Well, lo and behold, it started when I was very young, and it wasn't until I stood on my own 2 feet and 8 years later that I was able to bring it to an end. So you can say whatever you want to. I've been down that road, but yes, men can be raped. I'm just letting you know that. Mentally abused, grew up with it all my life, and we talked about it there. Physical abuse, but I think honestly the mental abuse I'm still processing and still trying to get through, that I endured all of my young life. It's tough, and I'm still trying to get through it. I attempted suicide, been proposed to, and then she left me shortly thereafter. Emotionally abused most of my life. The brain games that were played on me by a family member and stuff there, and the control that he had over me. It was just horrific. I am still trying to rewire my brain, still trying to figure out how to get past it all. I'm not there yet, but I've done pretty good. I've come a long ways. So I just go back to my own ethics and how I want people to treat me. So I try to do the same thing. I've lost 4 friends to suicide. Unfortunately, they were all when I was younger and I didn't know what all the signs meant. I've helped many people stay away from suicide. Now that I know, what to look for, what to listen to, it's helped. I've been laughed at pretty much all my life about my weight. People have made fun of me. They've made the snotty comments. So, that weighs on you. I've lost both of my parents. Been through bankruptcy. I've lost everything twice between bankruptcy and divorce. Thanks to COVID, I lost my business, my home, my vehicle, all of my savings, my 401k. And then on top of it all, I went 80 grand into debt over it. And I'm still trying to work on paying it off while trying to provide a good home for my son and I. Been basically stalked. I've had people stalk me. I've had people attack me for no reason. I've had 2 sexual harassment cases brought against me. One cost me my job. Neither one was warranted, but hey, you do what you have to do, I guess. I've had 2 hernias and reconstructive back surgery that took me out of being able to provide for my family. And in my case, where the man is responsible for taking care of his family, there's nothing more detrimental than that. Is when I was on the couch and I couldn't do anything and my family was starving and I wasn't able to pay bills and stuff. There's nothing that was worse than that. So man, if I had the food at that point, I was eating it. It was bad. I've had thousands and thousands of dollars taken from me, trying to help out friends. Always saying, well, I'll pay you back, and then they never do. One thing that I've learned is if I loan money, I just automatically know, hey, it's not going to come back. I've lost a total of 6 fur babies in my life. Been stabbed while trying to do my job. It kind of sucks being a repo man, I'll be honest. Been shot and almost killed. So the bullets, I had 2 bullets come right by my head. I heard them zing by my head. By the time you hear them zing, you would have been done anyway. So luckily, I just heard the zing. But that's just some of it, and some of the reasons why I gained so much weight. I was always and constantly depressed. Always. It just seemed like it got to be just a friend because I didn't know what else. I didn't know how to process. I didn't have really anybody to talk to. It's like, okay, well, I'm a man. I got to provide for the family. So you just shut your face and go to work. I would like to, and that leads into the next section of not compartmentalizing so much as a man. And that's why, ladies, I don't want you to get mad at me. Please don't think less of me. But men are raised to basically not have feelings. They're raised to just push it all the way. We have to provide for our family. We take care of them. We protect them. And it's a way of life that I like. I mean, I honestly, that this is my family. I'll do anything to protect them. So one thing that I learned through this whole weight loss thing is this is unfortunately something that I have to deal with. I have to process this. I have to actually, look this stuff in the eye and say, all right, how am I going to help myself? How am I going to get through this? I don't want to basically, jinx my weight loss journey right out of the shotgun because my brain is, messing with me. There's already enough brain games that go on with you with the changes in your diet and the changes in the way you do things. And a lot of you out there will exercise and, it's a whole life change. So your brain has to rewire for it. But I just wanted to make sure that I set myself up to win and not fail. And this is one of them. This is probably the biggest area that I got to work on, besides the negative self-talk and stuff there that I do when I'm off the air and stuff and you don't hear me. But I am getting a little bit better about that. So seeking out counseling is probably a good thing to do. It's probably something that I should do is talk to somebody. I just haven't made that step yet. I haven't accepted that part where, okay, I'll go talk to somebody. It's just, I'll get there, I think, within time. But right now I have some really, really good friends I talk to. That makes a huge difference on knowing that I can trust them, knowing that they're not going to betray my trust, betray what I tell them. Anything that I say, stays between us. there's been times that, we'll go for drives up in the hills and we have honest talks. Some of the stuff I scare him with because how dark the imagery is that's in my head, but that's how I process it. That's how I get it out. And that's how I'm dealing with this. So that way it doesn't derail my weight loss journey. I've come a long ways. My head's a lot clearer. I'm in a better spot. Just know that there's lots of places out there that will help you. I know there's a lot of free places that will help you. Just anything, just get the help that, and it doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It's nice to be able to talk to somebody. Like I said, we're very social creatures. So it helps to be able to talk to somebody. And that's what I'm trying to tell you is I pushed against that for so many years, for so long. I just decided I can do this on my own. I can stand on my own 2 feet. And the adage of no man's an island, I always said, oh, I am my own island. I can do this. But when all said and done, I ended up having to talk to somebody and just to work through everything to make sure that I don't derail on my weight loss journey and in life overall. So it's a handful, I'm just telling you, and I don't mean to be so dark. What I'm saying is it's okay to talk to somebody, get some help. It's okay. Just don't think less of it because you're seeking out help. I think it's a great thing. Be proud of yourself that you're taking that step forward and getting the help that you need so you can move forward with your weight loss journey and in life, and you can enjoy life. The thing that shocks me the most is I was told when I was young is life is so short. Back in the day before I had my son, you didn't realize the passage of time. Sure, you go to school and you went to work and you played and you cruised and all this stuff here, but it wasn't until my son was born back in 95, that was like a marker. I mean, it was like chunk, okay, here we go. Now you're going to notice the passage of time. And ever since he's been born, I have now realized 28 years of my life are gone. I didn't realize it before. It's like, well, I got all day, I got tomorrow, I got next week, it's no big deal. Now that I'm getting older, it's like, okay, all this time has passed. My friend and I were talking yesterday because I thought she had just got one of her puppies and stuff there. I thought she was only 4 years old. Well, she come to tell me she's actually 8. That's how much time has passed. And I didn't even realize it. She's such a wonderful little pup and I love her to death. And it was like, she's 8 years old. Wait a minute here. I mean, all my nephews, they're all graduated. They went through the military. Now they're starting their own lives. It's like, what is going on? It's like, hello. So I figured, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I got to do it. So I made the changes I needed to do to get through my weight loss journey, and this is just another one that I honestly think I'll be doing the rest of my life is, besides the weight loss journey, is going to be processing this pain and grief. So just all I can just say is it's okay to get help. Please do whatever it takes there to make sure that you keep going. Some of the signs I just wanted to talk about a little bit there of poor mental health. Like I said, I did some research on this, and this is one thing that I ran across was feeling sad or down. Confused thinking or reduced ability to concentrate. That one hit me. That's when I knew I was onto something there. I mean, it's like, okay, I can't quite keep my mind on my work or whatever. So I realized, okay, well, maybe I do. Maybe there is something wrong. Excessive fears or worries or extreme feelings of guilt. I'm always wondering what if. I'm horrible about it. I'm getting better about it, but I'm still horrible because I'm always trying to plan ahead for the future to make sure my family's taken care of. Do I have the bills taken care of? Is my puppy okay? Are my friends and family fine? I'm always what ifing everything. It's a horrible, horrible road to go down. So try not to go down it if you can help it. Extreme mood changes and highs and lows. I don't really have that. I'm pretty even keel. I didn't really notice much there. Lows more than highs than anything. Withdrawal from friends and activities. That one I did notice because I shut everybody out. I'm not even going to try to hide that one there. I didn't do much. Everything that I do still today is mostly alone. Go for hikes, go up in the hills, go for drives. When I'm home, I'm pretty much by myself most of the time. I've just gotten so used to it. I haven't had anybody, significant in my life in over a decade. So you just get used to doing everything by yourself. Significant tiredness, low energy, or problems sleeping. That is, I honestly, I have a hard time sleeping. Not even gonna try to hide that one because everybody on the other side, that's my family listening to this, they're going, don't even try to deny that one because we all know differently, and they're right. So that is some of the things, and like I found there, the American Psychological Association suggests you consider a time to see a therapist when something that causes distress and interferes with some part of your life, particularly when thinking about or coping with the issues, or in just a single issue, takes up at least an hour each day. This causes embarrassment or makes you want to avoid others. So I looked at that and I thought, okay, by reading that, I realized, okay, this is what I've got to do if I'm going to even have a hope of trying to lose this weight, because basically I'm changing my life. So if I'm going to change my life, I got to figure out how to process all this stuff. I got to work through it. And by reading this stuff, and yeah, I found it online, and I've spent hours and hours and hours researching this, just trying to figure out so that I knew what to bring to the table today. But I've done this over the years, is depression, stress, all of that stuff there. I was using food as a crutch, is essentially is what I was doing. That was my out for everything. That was my saving grace, was for everything. And then when I realized that I couldn't do that anymore a year and a half ago, I was like, oh my goodness, what do I do now? So I still have a lot of demons that I'm working with internally. I'm getting there. But it probably would have been good to seek out counseling, would have been good to seek out help. I just didn't. I just pushed through. I'm very hard-headed. I'm not going to lie about that one there. Anybody that knows me knows I'm extremely hard-headed, and it's just once I make my mind up, it's locked in. It's nearly impossible to get me to change. So just be very, very careful, with this. Take the steps necessary to make sure that you have good mental health. I think you'll feel better. And like I said, it's a long, long road. It's not easy by any way, shape, or form, and I'm going through it myself. So that actually leads into, please don't get upset with me, ladies. This is just a quick section for the men, and I want you to know there are women that do this too, not compartmentalizing so much as a man. Please don't get upset, because this actually refers to you ladies as well. But I have so many friends that I've talked to. We've all been trained, we've all been taught, we've all had it beaten into us, especially in my area that I live in. It's just, men don't talk about feelings. You just don't explore them. You don't talk about them. You don't acknowledge them. You don't do anything. Now, I know there's other sections in the U.S. and there's other sections around the world where men do talk about it and they're open. And I am so envious of that. I think that is so awesome. And I'm so glad they're open-minded about that. I think it's phenomenal. And I'm so happy for them. And I try to raise my son with not holding so much in. He's just a very, very reserved man. He's opinionated. He's wonderful, but he does hold a lot of stuff in. And I wish he'd talk to me a little bit more. But that's the pot calling the kettle black, because I don't talk either. So, but I tried to do the best that I could to say it's okay to have feelings. It's okay to have emotions. Which it is. I mean, we're all born with them. We all have them, hardwired into us. It's not like just something where you can deprogram emotions. Although if I could have, I would have a long time ago, and instead of going down that rabbit hole of eating my feelings. But hey, this is where I'm at. So I can't change the past. All I can do is, basically help my future out. I can kind of mold my future a little bit by making better choices. And one of them is not compartmentalizing so much. And if you're in the area where I am, you'll understand most men don't talk. I mean, they don't, their idea is just lock it away. I don't acknowledge it. I don't have to feel it. But the problem is that just sits there, and it's almost like a poison, especially when it's with grief or trauma or anything like that. It just sits and it just stews and stews and stews and gets worse. And the more you don't acknowledge it, the more you ignore it, the more you keep it locked away, you're just giving it room to grow, to breed, to just keep there. It's kind of like a stew. The more you let it sit, the seasonings all come together. And, the potatoes and the carrots and all the stuff that's in that stew start absorbing all the seasonings. Well, it's the same way when you lock stuff away, you don't process it, you don't deal with it, nothing like that. It's essentially the same thing, because then it starts affecting your life, it starts affecting your work. Your body literally starts absorbing, because it starts shutting down. I mean, there's been too many times that I've known people in depression and body organs start shutting down. Your mind starts shutting down. You look out the window and go, I don't really want to go out there, or I'm scared to go out there, or, there's nothing out there for me anymore. And nothing can be further from the truth. Don't ever think that. There's always somebody that wants to see you. There's always somebody that wants to talk to you, wants to go out for lunch with you, just sit at a park. Just never give up. I mean, it's tough. But as a man in my area and stuff there, we were raised, you just lock it away. And you're probably going to hear me say that probably 300 times throughout the podcast, because I don't know of any other way, but I am getting a little bit better. But also understand, it's taken me over 30 years to admit that I have, and it's a problem. I still not 100% acknowledged it, because if I fully acknowledge it, then that means I've got to do even more. But I am starting to work where I'm not holding so much in. I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, I'm not going to put myself in that situation again. So how can I keep myself out of it? How can I avoid it for the future and stuff there? And that doesn't mean that I'm a coward or anything like that there. That is just being smart with my life, my positive energy, everything. I'm just being smarter about it. And I'm just not around narcissistic people. I can't do it, because it's so draining, because I feel like I want to help them. I feel that I want to try to be there for them. But ultimately, all it does is it just drains you, essentially. It pulls everything out of you, and you just go down just a very, very dark road, and I don't want to do that anymore. So like I said, I used to use food to take that place, but I don't anymore. I'm so proud of myself, because I have come so far and I see things so much better. And if I hadn't, I wouldn't be doing these podcasts trying to say, folks, I'm trying to help you just a little bit. I'm hoping there's a little bit of information here that will help you, that you can take to heart, or maybe you'll see things a different way. That's one thing that I had to do while learning all this stuff, and it's just it's still a work in progress, and I'll probably still be a work in progress all the way until they lay me in the ground. But I'd like to know that at least I acknowledge it. I've taken steps to make changes. I have moved forward. I've processed a lot of my trauma. I'm actually kind of impressed at how much that I have processed. I'm really shocked on how far I've come. I've done a lot of changing. In the past, even if you go back just a couple of years, I've done a lot of changing just in that alone. But I know that my friend tells me that she goes, you have done so much changing just even in the past 5 years. She said, well, we met 10 years ago. She says, you are nothing like what I got to know back then. She says, you've come so far. You're so much lighter. You're so much easier to talk to. She says, you're not so hateful. You're not so dark. You're not, and I used my book series, The Dark Secrets of Wolf Point. A lot of me is in those books, because I didn't want to just write in a journal to get my feelings out. So what it is, I created a series of books, and I work through the traumas in those. And if you know the traumas that I've been through, which now you do, because I've opened myself up to the world, you'll see so much of me in those books, and you'll see how I processed the grief and how I got through things. And that was my out. That was my way of processing everything instead of sitting on a couch talking about it. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, please. If you go talk to a counselor, if that's going to help, absolutely, please do it. Don't risk your mental health because you're too proud, or you just you're too embarrassed, or anything like that. Your mental health is so important and so crucial to your weight loss journey. I can't stress that enough. That is probably the single most thing that has helped me get through everything. It's been crazy. I kind of shocked myself. So I know there's a lot of men in my area that they have to be the tough guys, have to keep it locked up. Don't show pain, don't show pity, don't show remorse, don't show anything. You're supposed to just walk around basically stoic, and nobody can read you and everything else. Just know that it's okay to go out and talk to somebody, get some help. and nobody has to know about it. You can do it all quietly, but then you get the help that you need. You can talk to somebody. All the psychiatrists and stuff out there, they keep everything private. They're wonderful. I've known a couple of them. They're fantastic. They're good people. They just want to try to help and give you the tools necessary to process things and walk through things. So take them up on it. I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, I really can't stress that enough. So when all said and done, I'll be able to keep it actually relatively close to the 45-minute mark. Just know that surgery is a good thing, or not surgery, excuse me. Therapy is a good thing and stuff there. I was looking at another page and I shouldn't have been doing that and stuff there, but just do what it can to basically protect your positive energy, your good juju, your mental state, because that's going to help you through your weight loss journey. Honestly, it does, because I've been processing this stuff and making things better. I honestly believe that's how I've been able to stay the course with this whole thing and get myself through it. So I think if you deal with the depression, you deal with the stress, anything that's on a daily basis, if you start processing it, and some of it you just got to let roll off your back because that's just life and stuff there. Or if you choose to seek out, therapy, talking to somebody, that's wonderful. I think it's great there. Don't let anybody tell you any different. It's all right to go talk to somebody and let them help you through this and give you the tools necessary to process it. So I think it'll help you in your weight loss journey. It'll help you. It'll give you a more positive outlook on life. I just think all the way around, it's just going to be it's great for your physical health. It's just going to be a win-win, no matter how you look at it. So, well, with all that said and done, that's pretty much all I've got for today. I know I said I would always keep them light and upbeat, and I just want you to know, as always, you've got this. I'm proud of you. You're taking the first steps to making a better you. You're going to be healthier. You're going to be mentally more fit. You're going to be physically more fit. Be proud of yourself for the steps that you're taking in this. And if you haven't started it yet, that's okay. Do what it takes. You'll start when you're ready. Don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let anybody push you into something you don't want to do. And don't jump in until you're ready. But, just knowing that when you're ready, you'll take the first step and away you go. So just know that I'm proud of you. Everybody, all the listeners, we're all behind you. We want you to succeed. We want you to win. I want you to cross that finish line and be happy. So I want to be there. Someday I will be across the finish line. I'm still going through my weight loss journey. So someday I will be there. So then we'll all be together and it'll just be a great day all together. So as usual, I'm going to end the podcast with my dad joke of the day. So get ready to groan. You ready to go? Here we go. Where do you learn to make a banana split? In Sunday school, of course. Hello. There you go. That should keep you happy there. Put a smile on your face right at the end of this podcast. Thank you for joining in. I really, really appreciate it there. It's always great to hear from you. Make sure you let me know how you're doing on my Facebook page. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day.